As a die-hard Nintendo fanboy, the idea of the Switch 2, which I'm personally hoping they call the Super Nintendo Switch, has me both excited, hopeful, and a little bit concerned. But we're finally starting to see new information roll out. This is coming from manufacturers, and I want to go through all the latest new details, all the different leaks that are coming out, give you guys my perspective and what I personally hope that we see with this next iteration of the console. I think it's safe to say Nintendo, for everything that they do in the industry, both right and wrong, has really carved out a niche for itself, one that I don't think either Sony or Xbox could dare challenge. But let's go ahead and dive in. This is coming from Centrino Leaks. They've got a bunch of information saying Nintendo Switch 2 new leaks. It appears information from manufacturing is starting to leak out. We're talking 12 gigs of RAM. This is two 6 gigabytes 7500 MTs and LPDDR5 modules. 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 internal storage. On that note, that was always the biggest weakness of the Switch. We've seen the move to digital. I'm happy that it seems like the base storage of the Switch 2 is somewhat decent, but I would also expect that they're going to give us the ability to expand on that internal storage. They also say, seems like both the console will include a built-in microphone and thus maybe controllers too. Now, Zach asked this question, I know nothing about tech specs. What does it mean in a more basic term? And Centrino Leaks replies, it's basically like 732 GameCubes duct taped together. What a beautiful reference to what Nintendo has done. And it only, I think, highlights them going into the blue waters all that time ago with the Wii. Obviously the Wii U, completely they missed the mark on that one, but because of that we got the Switch, and I really hope that the Switch 2 is a more powerful iteration, but also adds in some of the latest technology. But anyway, more than just Switch news and Nintendo news, I want to shout out late to the game my friend Mark and fellow Italian. You guys, if you haven't seen him, he's just getting started out in this YouTube game. He's under 300 subscribers, and if you guys want some great, actually incredibly well produced content, give him a shot. His link is in the description. Go check out what he's got to offer. And if you don't like it, no worries, but if you do like it, be sure to tell him that I sent you, and I think that will really make his day. Speaking of subscribers here, thank you and welcome to all the new subs. I always want to earn your subscription, so if I do sound off in the comments below, let me thank you there as well as here in these videos. And also huge shout out on yesterday's video hitting over 500 likes. Whenever I see a video do those kinds of numbers, it's truly humbling, and I appreciate you guys so much. But there's still more Switch news to discuss. Jay writes, to which current consoles can I compare these numbers to? Citrina says, Xbox Series X really only has 10 gigs of RAM, but it's really not that the specs are comparable, not that we don't have all the info yet. But what are we getting this information? Is this trustworthy whatsoever? They rate it 9 out of 10. This information comes from official sources that are actually tracking shipments happening between component suppliers, Nvidia and Nintendo. This is very likely completely accurate, and they give a reference to the Reddit thread that is covering this. I'll include a link to this Twitter thread in the description if you guys want to go read all of this just for yourself. Now, he says the RAM is specifically LPDDR5, and so yes, this is going to be considerably more powerful than a PS4. In terms of the estimated kind of size and spacing of it, they do a comparison of the current OLED Switch, the Steam Deck, and right in the middle a mock-up of what the Switch 2 could potentially look like. Obviously that look in and of itself feels more like a Switch Lite, and I do think we'll see that with Switch 2, that they're going to have the main edition that they release and then ultimately follow it up with kind of a more direct handheld option. The power comes from, not that, because you might be like, oh, can this do 4K? Well, yeah, it actually probably could do 4K, because the real magic up the sleeve, the real thing, is the DLSS. This is what is going to make comparisons so hard, says Centrino, as the current consoles don't have that enormous benefit. But I do wonder if we're going to see that brought into the next iteration of the PS6 and whatever Xbox is doing. It seems like Xbox is going to be going more PC in terms of its architecture and letting other stores onto the operating system. We'll have to wait and see. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that's the logical step that Microsoft can make, but who knows? We see all kinds of chaos within the industry, and that's kind of one of the things that, despite my joy of what I like about Nintendo and my frustration about how I wish Nintendo would really kind of streamline their online experience, it is a process, and they have been the only company really from a hardware perspective to truly kind of sit back, let the big guys fight about themselves, and just continue to release games when they're ready. And I think it shows. Good games, good profits. Hey, Nintendo. And so I know that I want them to do more, and ideally it's going to be interesting to see what the Switch 2 offers in terms of the networking. Now, as far as it goes, via Brazilian TV, they say that the same person who originally correctly leaked the internal delay of the consoles to next year. So this is what you can kind of start to expect. We'll update you guys as this information changes. Switch 2 planned for release on March 2025. Expected more information about the console in the fall, and more remasters will be revealed. The second half of this year for Nintendo is truly kind of a mystery, and I hope that we get some more information soon about what they plan to release. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'd love to see a Wind Waker remake, and the one and only real kind of requirement that I have for Switch 2 is backwards compatibility, which from some of the leaks and some of the information we've seen does seem to hint that backwards compatibility is coming to the console. And I think that makes the most sense, especially when we start talking about those digital libraries. And I don't think anybody wants to let go of their Switch library, and adding in more Switch 2 games I think would ultimately make sense, especially when you start talking about cross-gen things. Like Wind Waker could still run on the current iteration of the Switch. You could always then see, hey, if you're running on the Switch 2, we're going to open up some new features and things like that. Personally, I'm really excited for when they announce, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. And when that day does come, I'll be sure to share that with you guys here as well. But we've got one last thing for those of you who are new around here. I like to do community questions, shout outs, celebrations in this case. And this is coming from LP Cooley. Says, what a great video and what great insight. I was seriously in debt for more than 10 years, and it was so bad that we couldn't put fuel in our vehicles, and then the crash happened. What got us through was our faith in God and proper plan to pay off the loans and the credit cards. Now we live debt free, and we can definitely agree with what all you said. By the way, the game is awesome, and I bought it last night finding your videos about the patch notes, hearing about Thomas, which sold me completely on how dedicated and genuine he is. And subscribe to your channel. God bless and keep up the good work. P.S. We have a database support dev business we couldn't have thought of pursuing, thus in debt. So guys, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's probably the best sage advice that I could always give you guys. If you tell yourself you're not going to do it, you're right. If you tell yourself you can't do it, you're right. If you tell yourself you can do it, you're right. So continue to think positive, really figure out what you want in this life and pursue it. Now, my recommendation is that dream becomes easier when you don't owe anybody any money. That's one of the things we always like to talk about and encourage you guys to be the best versions of yourself. And yeah, if you guys need help, got questions, let me know. I've paid off mountains of debt. I've been through an incredible, crazy life experience, and I'm always here to help encourage you guys as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you stayed all the way to the end, sound off in the comments with Hootie Hoot. Special shout out to all the channel members here at the channel. Thank you so much for your support, but you don't need to be a member to support the content. Hitting that like button is a great free way of doing so. Or if you want to support me in other ways, check out the affiliate links in the description of these videos for more ways to support and get yourself a little bit of something on the side there. Anyway, guys, my name is Brian for Ginger Prime. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Hopefully I will see you in the next video, but until then, take care.